The good news for all of us is that we're going to get through this election pretty soon here, and then we will have a series of holidays, and the holidays will make things a little bit better for us. But if you want to listen to the Fauci, sorry, the holiday this year, you're going to have to eat a turkey alone. Don't eat too much. It'll cause the formation of adipose tissue. Adipose tissue can create inflammation in the cells. Inflammation in the cells lowers immunity. You basically eat too much turkey, you die of COVID. I'm just here to explain the science so you all know. That's why I'm here. The Fauci wants you to say, look, I mean, you want to be thankful for something? Be thankful for the fact that I'm not making you wear a mask when you go to sleep at night or when you take a shower, because I might have to. I might have to pull you all together and tell you that. Here he is saying your Thanksgiving is gonna stink this year. Play 21.
I think given the fluid and dynamic nature of what's going on right now in the spread and the uptick of infections, I think people should be very careful and prudent about social gatherings, particularly when members of the family might be at a risk because of their age or their underlying condition. Namely, you may have to bite the bullet and sacrifice that social gathering unless you're pretty certain that the people that you're dealing with are not infected. Either they've been very recently tested or they're living a lifestyle in which they don't have any interaction with anybody except you and your family. Then it's okay.
I mean, this is what this so-called public health official expert tells people now. Live life like a hermit and there can be no joy until he says so. Until the Fauci says you're allowed to have holidays, you can't really have a holiday. Not allowed. You know, you can have a gathering of one, you know, and you have, you know, for example, okay, Halloween, what do? Can you send the kids out to trick or treat? No, you can't. So what you do instead is you have your kid wear a little costume and let him walk in the kitchen and put a couple of, maybe Reese's Pieces or some other such sugary treat in the bowl, and that's it. Not as fun as seeing the friends, not as fun as being out in the neighborhood, but that's what you got to do. What about Thanksgiving? Oh, Thanksgiving, who needs a big turkey and all this? Your climate change footprint's going to be very big with that turkey, so why not just, go some steamed vegetables, very healthy, stay alone indoors. One day, I'll tell you you're allowed to have your life back, but probably not for another year or two. So this is the world we're living in now, folks. The world we're living in now because we've given up so much of our autonomy and so much of the authority. Notice, they'll tell you so much about how we should have choices about people's bodies when it comes to one thing. But when it comes to like stifling, when we really know it's actually about protecting a life. But anyway, and we got a whole other thing here about, you can't have any breathing of fresh air and just like living like a normal person. Not allowed. Not allowed. If you get tested, you're not going to get the results back particularly quickly. And so if you're tested and you're going to see your Aunt Ethel 5 days later, doesn't really mean anything because would have had 5 days where you technically could have gotten infected. But, the other side of this, too, is that the treatment of this has gotten better. They know more about it. They have some therapeutics to actually use for people. They keep talking about cases all the time. The death rate remains much lower than it was during previous spikes. And we at some point are just going to realize that the people that have been telling you all along, stay home, stay away from people, stay away from everybody, they have nothing better to say. And they're committed to this idea. They're committed to being right and to having control over you. They're not committed to what's best for you. And perhaps there's no better example of that mentality than Governor Cuomo. The Italy virus, the France, the Spain virus. What do I mean by a Spain virus? The Spain virus is a very, very tiny thing. Viral particle is very small. You can't even like, you think small, like, oh, what about the speck that's in my marinara sauce? No, smaller than that. Very tiny. But Governor Cuomo has written a book on being serious. And in his book, he talks about the things that he did to save everybody. But what about all the people you say he didn't save because he's the worst at this ever? No. We're rewriting history with the book. That's the point. Here's Cuomo himself speaking, if you can tell the difference. Play 16.
You know, in the very beginning, the federal government said that they were in charge of testing and they were doing the testing and it was taking a long time. I should have said, forget it. I don't care what you say. The state should have started the testing earlier. We got ambushed by the virus. We had no idea that it was coming from Europe. It had been coming from Europe for 3 months, and everybody missed it. But that put New York in the hole. They kept calling it the China virus. It wasn't the China virus. It was the Italy virus and the France virus and the Spain virus. It came here from Europe. They said there was no such thing as asymptomatic spread. They said that you only spread it when you had symptoms. You had a cough, you had a sneeze, etc. That was all wrong. It turned out that you could spread it even without symptoms. And that's how it got into nursing homes.
So there's some things that we should all get clear on here, because you're going to hear a ton of rewriting history. And hat tip to my old colleague, Stu Bergier, great dude. You know him from Glenn Beck's radio show. He put out a thread today about Cuomo's rewriting of COVID history. He writes, Andrew Cuomo's new book is out, a fictional tale in which he proclaims himself master of coronavirus and viral savior of New York. But that's not even close to true. Let's go through Cuomo's actions in the most important month, March. March 1st, New York Governor Cuomo announces New York City's first confirmed case of COVID. March 2nd, Cuomo spends this period arguing New Yorkers were worrying too much. Quote, in this situation, the facts defeat fear because the reality is reassuring. It is deep breath time. That's what Cuomo was saying in March, folks. March 3rd, Cuomo finally takes immediate action on the crisis. The vaping crisis. Holds a rally at at the New York Capitol. No Vape New York trends on Twitter. That's right, vaping was the big problem. March 1st, Cuomo, we have an epidemic caused by coronavirus, but we have an epidemic, have a bigger epidemic that is caused by fear. March 5th, think of criticism lobbed at the Trump administration about downplaying the virus. Cuomo does this over and over. He keeps going on. March 7th, after weeks of telling people not to worry so much and comparing COVID to the flu, Cuomo signs executive order declaring virus a disaster emergency in New York. March 8th, coronavirus cases hit triple digits. Cuomo tries to convince New Yorkers not to worry. This is not the Ebola virus. This is not SARS. This is a virus we have a lot of information on. It just keeps going on. And March 9th, Cuomo downplays the effect of the virus. This is not Ebola. That's hysteria you see. That's fear you see. That's panic. That's unwarranted. The worst response by the numbers in the country. Democrat Cuomo writing a book about how good he was on COVID. This is sociopathic. Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.